All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross this time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming at classic1220.ca. X Zone Nation, my first guest tonight is Father SHAWN Whittington. He is an exorcist. We're going to be talking to Father SHAWN about paranormal investigations, his books, and his teaching. So joining me now from Sin City itself, Las Vegas, Nevada, is Dr. SHAWN Whittington. And Sean, welcome back to the show.
God bless you for having me back, brother. It's nice. We had a nice chat last time.
Yes, we did.
I don't know if we want to make this if this is a reboot, a continuation, a part 2. I don't know.
Well, why don't we let the listeners who may not have been with us last time we spoke, because we've gained a few more affiliates since you and I last talked, a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got started in doing what you do.
Do you mind if I compliment you first on something?
Not at all.
I didn't think you'd mind. I want to congratulate you on the Golden Award in radio, TV broadcasting excellence you got. That's pretty cool.
Thank you so much, Father. I appreciate that, sir.
What does that mean to you?
It means that I'm doing things the right way, making sure that I can make a difference each and every day in the world that I can, and doing it in a professional manner.
Very cool. And you are. I want to compliment you on the last time you and I got together and had a chat. So many of my friends heard that interview and got back to me, and they loved it. They thought you and I had great chemistry, and they said, when are you two going to do a show together? So I don't want to put your feet to the fire, and hit you on the spot here, but that might be in the future one day. You never know.
Or today. Or in the future, which I'm sure there will be many in the future.
How was your Memorial Day?
Well, we don't celebrate Memorial Day up here. We celebrate Remembrance Day in November. That is our equivalent to your Memorial Day. But I did yesterday wish all our members of the Exo Nation down south a happy Memorial Day, and thanked all the wonderful servicemen and ladies who have served in the military and our neighbor to the south for all these years, and thanked them for their service.
Very, very cool. I'll have to remember that. I have cousins that live up there in Canada. I'll have to remember that and wish them a happy Remembrance Day in November.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about yourself for those listeners who are just tuning into you for the first time.
Well, the last time we talked, I was just, I can't remember if I had already been ordained a deacon, or was I just still a reverend? I don't remember.
I still think that you were just a reverend, but congratulations.
Thank you. I shortly after that, I flew to Indiana, and I was in a ceremony where I was ordained to the diaconate. And then just here this past March, on St. Patrick's Day weekend, I flew to Indiana where I'd finally graduated the seminary, and I flew to Indiana for a ceremony where they ordained me to the priesthood. So now I am Father Sean, and life is good. God is good. Life is good, and I'm just a regular guy. You know me.
Yeah. Well, that's what Jesus was way back then. Was just a regular guy with a very important message, but he did have clout with his parents.
Yeah, big time.
Let me ask
Big.
you something before we get on to the show, Father Sean. What do you think Jesus would say if he was to come down to earth today? Now, I believe in the second coming. I believe in the book of Revelation. What do you think he would say? But if he came down unannounced and walked amongst the people, what do you think he'd say?
I don't think he'd really say anything. I'll tell you what. I get this feeling that, and I hope I don't get hate mail for this. It is what it is. I'm going to speak my mind. I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
But I never look at anybody. I always wonder. When I go out and I have the collar on, you would be surprised the wide range of different type of people that come up to me. Sometimes it's not the best interaction, but most of the time it's very beautiful. But sometimes, of all the people that sometimes I get, just this really interesting sort of angelic vibe from are some of the homeless people that approach me for help and just want to talk.
Sure.
And I think that's how Jesus would be. I think Jesus would come down and be the most unassuming and appear to be the kind of person that you would never in your wildest dreams expect that to be Jesus. And he would just be checking things out. I mean, he already knows everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he'd have anything really to say unless it was time, unless you and I, it's time.
Sure.
He's back here, and it's we're moving on.
But we're looking at a world that is in turmoil. We have what's going on in Israel and the Gaza. We've got Iran getting its nose involved. We have corruption throughout our political system. We have the hungry. We have the homeless. We have the unemployed. And yet he and everyone else have tried so hard to make this a better place. And it seems like we're starting to go backwards. And I often wonder if this was because of the influence that evil is having in today's society.
Absolutely. Let's not forget Ukraine, and let's not forget that still, even to this day, worldwide, and even in our own country here in the United States, I don't know what it's like up in Canada, but even to this day, religious persecution.
Yeah, same here.
It's and I may or may not have touched base on this the last time we spoke, but I just do firmly believe it is because humanity has gotten away from God. And that's why evil just seems to be so uncontrollably running rampant amongst humankind. And I think that if we should, we should wise up and get good with God again.
In your opinion, Father Sean, how can we do this? Like, I know how to do this, you know how to do this, but there are people listening right now saying, well, what are they talking about?
There was a time where I may have hit somebody over the head with a Bible and did a little bit of five-fold ministry.
Mm-hmm.
But now I just try to lead by example. And people like you ask me that question all the time. And the ones that ask me the question that are really looking for something in their life, they feel like something's missing. They're not having a good time. They need some help, but they're not very spiritual or very religious. I take baby steps with them. And I think the world could take baby steps if we just stop the violence, no matter what it took.
Mm-hmm.
If we just stopped the violence, started spreading a little bit of love more, I think it would be a dramatic turnaround. But it's just all baby steps. Wake up in the I tell people, wake up in the morning, take a nice long look in the mirror, and talk to yourself, and tell yourself that today you are going to be the best version of yourself that you can be today. You might be better than the next day and the next day, but today try your best to be the very best version of yourself that you can be. You know, learn on working on your humility. Learn on, and this one's a hard one. Turning the other cheek. People don't seem to be able to do that now. It's hard, but learn how to work on learning how to turn the other cheek. Forgiveness is a big thing, but just join some support groups. There's power in prayer. There's power in groups and being with like-minded people that think this and feel the same way you do about things, that are maybe also searching for something more fulfilling in their life on a spiritual level. And start there, just baby steps. Doesn't have to be, don't even have to go to a nearby non-denominational church and get dunked in the holy waters, although I recommend that all the time too. It takes a little longer in the Catholic Church, setting up being baptized, going to catechism, and then getting confirmed and your first communion and all that. But I tell a lot of people that aren't ready to do that, start with baby steps. Go to a nearby non-denominational Christian-based church and get dumped in the holy waters. If you don't feel totally different and have a different outlook on life, then you can come back and tell me I'm full of it. But I guarantee you there will be changes.
Why is there so much pomp and circumstance in the Catholic Church when it comes to baptism?
Well, they're very, jurisdictions change. In the time that I've been, I was baptized when I was a baby. Mm-hmm. I've gone through the first communion. I've gone through catechism and got confirmed. Never varied off my faith. I spent 20 years as a raging alcoholic and drug addict, and probably did a lot of things that would have really made my parents sad and upset. Probably made my guardian angel work overtime to keep me, still walking upright. Probably, made Jesus sad to watch me be like that. But I came through all of that. And they're just, we're just strict. We know what's at stake here. Souls are at stake. So for us to baptize a baby, it leaves an indelible mark on their soul for the rest of their life while they're here on this planet, that they are now a child of God.
All right, Father Shawn, we have to take our first break. Please stand by. Sure. Exo Nation, my guest this hour is Father Shawn Whittington, and if you'd like to contact the Father, we'll give you his website, and it is ghost-b-gone.biz. And Father Shawn and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, and streamed around the world on classic1220.ca. Dr. Shawn Whittington is our special guest this hour. And Father Shawn, we were talking briefly about, the pomp and circumstance within the Catholic Church when it comes to baptism. And I understand the importance of baptism. All my children were baptized. I've been baptized, grandchildren baptized, and so on and so forth. But in today's society, it seems that people are looking to alternative philosophies for answers that they just don't seem to get the answers to from the Bible anymore.
You're absolutely right, and I hate to keep harping on that on the fact that I believe humanity has gotten away from God.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe the ones that are meant to come back, they find a way back. God makes it apparently obvious to them. This is the path you need to be on. The ones that are meant to come back under that umbrella. And so it'll all get sorted out. I just believe that. I pray for it all the time, all day long, every day. People ask me, what is it, in addition to being a Catholic priest, you're also a fully professed brother in the old Catholic Benedictines of Immaculate Mary. What does that mean? You don't live in a monastery anymore, do you? Well, yeah, there still are monasteries in the world where Benedictine monks live in them. I happen to not live in a monastery, but I do try my best to live that lifestyle where you're in prayer a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You live a prayerful life. You try to be a very spiritual and spread the word of God, and just, what would Jesus do? You ask yourself that all the time. You try to be more as Christ-like as you can be every day. So I pray every day that everybody that's, I'm sure you're familiar with the Fatima prayer. I pray that all the time,
Mm-hmm.
because it's all about saving souls and making sure everybody gets to heaven. Jesus wants that too. So it's all going to get sorted out. I have people that come to me every day that were atheist most of their adult life, and they come to me and they just, something about me, the way I'm living my life, the things I've been through, and the way I am today, they want a piece of that. Something about that makes them want a piece of that, and they want to know, how can I get that? And here again, I don't want to scare them off by, you can scare people off by just, this waterfall of
Mm-hmm.
an avalanche of religion on them. So you just start with baby steps. And I've converted a lot of people. And that feels good too. Not so much the Catholics. A lot of Catholics, I'm going to get hate mail for this, but a lot of them think they can go out and do whatever they want to do and then turn around and confess their sins and they'll be forgiven. Be careful. You get into that bad habit and you do something, and that sin's not easily forgiven. So you got to be careful. And you're held to a higher standard. I'm speaking to all the Catholics out there that are listening. You're held to a higher standard. So let's start leading a good example for everybody else that aren't Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
because it's our job, especially when you're on my level. It's our job to save souls and spread the word.
But let me ask you this, Father Sean. In the eyes of God, is there a difference between a Catholic, a Jew, a Protestant, a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu? Or are we all the same in his eyes? And does he love us all the same?
He loves us if we are Christ-like. I can't tell you that I believe there's one God, the God that I pray to. And I believe many of these religions pray to the same God. They may have taken their religious belief system in different directions than Catholicism, but you'd be surprised. You've probably met many holy people that are really good people.
Sure.
I mean, they're full of love.
Mm-hmm.
They got big hearts, and it doesn't matter if they're Jewish. I've assisted in Jewish exorcisms with rabbis, beautiful people to watch work in that situation. I have Muslim friends. I have indigenous friends that pray to the Great Father. And I ask them all the time, is the Great Father my God? They don't know. I don't know. I hope it is. I pray that it is. But when you meet these holy people, shaman, indigenous holy people, priests, rabbis, if they are truly full of the Holy Spirit, there's a difference in them. There's a difference between the people that have the Holy Spirit or have witnessed divine intervention or been a recipient of divine intervention than the people that haven't. And so with the way the world is now, it's really important that the stories of those types of stories, be read a lot. people ask me all the time, I want to read a good book that helps me get my faith back. And I kind of look at them at first like, is this a trick question? Because you ought to know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And I always tell them, tell you what, don't open the first page of the Bible and read the whole thing. Why don't you just start with the Gospels? I tell people all the time, just read the Gospels, and then come back and let's talk. And you'd be surprised what that does to people, even the people in the paranormal field. Can you, Father Sean? I know you've been a Ghostbuster since you were a kid. Can you recommend a good paranormal book to me? And they just are so surprised when I say the Bible. That's this very supernatural, paranormal book. So start there. But again, baby steps. I tell people just try the Gospels, and then come back and talk to me, and we'll see where you're at. Gospels, and move on to Acts, and then we'll talk.
Why then, I agree with you that the Bible is a fantastic book. I don't know how many times I've read it over my lifetime. There's always something new, a new interpretation based on an experience you've had in life. So it's a never-ending story.
Sometimes I break open the Bible and I'm reading it, and I have to sit back and go, wait a minute, have I read this book before? I thought I read it already. Because it's amazing. You're absolutely right, Rob. It's amazing every time I open it up. As many times as I read it, I get something different. My eyes see something different. I hear my own words in my mind as words are jumping off the page at me, and I get something different every time.
Why is evil allowed to thrive in the world that we know it? Because I believe God has the ability to squash it in the blink of an eye.
Well, it all comes down to free will. Now, they are all the fallen angels, and they were kicked out of heaven and sent down here. This really is their realm. A lot of people don't like to hear that type of talk, but this really is their realm. They will remain here at end of times while we all go up to heaven, and then they will all be banished forever into the sea of lava, down in the pit, the sea of lava. But this is their realm, so they were banished down here, and they already made their decision. So, and it's all part of free will. We have free will. Do you want to be a Satanist or a devil worshiper, or do you want to be Catholic? And if you don't want to be Catholic, do you at least want to be a good person and learn the difference between good and evil, and right and wrong?
But if this is the domain of the demons and the devil, why were we born here? Why weren't we born somewhere else where evil doesn't exist?
Well, we were, Eve was here. Eden was here. So then it all changed after the fall. After that happened in Eden, the temptation and the fall, that all changed until Mary, who was the new Eve, and then Jesus, who was the new Adam. That all changed then. But
why didn't it change after Noah's Ark, after the flood, and after the family of Noah was the only family left, according to the Bible? Why wasn't it then put down as, all right, we've made our mistakes. Sorry, God. We understand Sodom, Gomorrah. We understand all the evil and what's at stake. So why weren't Noah and his family given the opportunity to start off fresh without evil?
Well, it still comes down to free will eventually. They get word, the devil doesn't sleep. You've heard that old saying, be alert and sober of mind, your enemy. The devil prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. He never stops.
But okay, I understand that and I can appreciate that. But if we have free will, why then, if Noah and his family knew of the consequences, why was evil allowed to be here after the Great Flood? Because I'm sure Noah and his family certainly didn't choose to come back to a place that was infested with demons, the devil, and everything that was negative. I'm sure if they had free will, they would have gone to a place like Utopia.
Well, that's the spiritual realm. versus the physical world. So when the Great Flood basically washed away the evil of humankind, mankind that was here, flourishing on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a spiritual realm that still existed. And so now we're kind of coexistent with that. And you just have to be very careful because they're always looking for the fall to capture souls. Mm-hmm. As much as we want to save souls, they want to capture them. And so it's just a never-ending, ongoing battle.
Will that battle ever be won?
Oh yeah, it's already won. But there's going to be a lot of casualties of war, mm-hmm. And a lot of battles. Let me rephrase that. The war, we already know who's going to win the war, but there will be some battles that are lost, and a lot of casualties from that. And I know that's just putting it kind of a matter-of-factly. It's hard to explain to people that haven't seen or experienced some of the things that I've seen and experienced in the field of deliverance ministry. It's hard to get a lot of people to buy into that, and a lot of people are scared of it too.
All right, stand by, Father. We've got to take our break. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
That's okay.
Exonation, Father Shawn Whittington is our special guest this hour. He is in Las Vegas, Nevada, and if you'd like to find out more about Father Shawn, visit ghost-b-gone.biz. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in St. Catharines, Ontario, on the X Zone Broadcast Network, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, streaming classic1220.ca.
Evil grows in the dark, where the sun it never shines.
Down to Georgia, he was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot, and the devil jumped up on a hickory stump and said, "Boy, let me tell you what. I guess you didn't know it, but I'm a fiddle player too. And if you'd care to take a dare, I'll make a bet with you. Now you play pretty good fiddle, boy, but give the devil his due. I bet a fiddle of gold against your soul because I think I'm better than you." The boy said, "My name's Johnny, and it might be a sin, but I'll take your bet and you're gonna regret, because I'm the best as ever been. Johnny, rosin up your bow and play your fiddle hard, cause hell's broke loose in Georgia and the devil deals the cards. And if you win, you get this shiny fiddle made of gold, but if you lose, the devil gets your soul."
And welcome back, everyone. Father Shawn Whittington is our special guest. And he is in Las Vegas, Nevada, speaking about the Devil's Den. And if you'd like to find out more about the Father, if you'd like to contact him, ghost-b-gone.biz is his website. Tell us about some of the deliverance services that you've performed and exorcisms, and how real is the devil and how real are demons?
They're very, very real. And I know this scares some people, so mm-hmm. I try not to, again, baby steps here. I try not to lay it on too heavy. What I recommend people do is, well, you could read my books. For those of you out there that didn't see this television series, Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists, you could watch that. It's streaming everywhere. I don't think there's a streaming service out there that isn't carrying it. And you can also buy it, the whole season 1 for under $10 on Amazon Prime. But just start reading some books. There's also some great books that were put out about Father Amort before he passed away, and he was the Vatican exorcist. You need to read the stories to really start to absorb what all of this is about. Find a demonologist that's very well respected in the field of deliverance ministry or among churches, the church community. And if they have any publications out or any books out, you can read those. But you also have to be careful, because a lot of talking about this and reading about it can also stir up the bad juju. and the bad mojo and give undue and unnecessary energy to that stuff too. So you have to be very careful. But they're very real. I kind of turned the page on all of that when I entered the seminary because I knew, being 60 years old when I entered the seminary, who does that? But I knew, never having been a very good student in the first place, I had to 100% concentrate on my classes and my studies to get through that. Now that I have accomplished that, sure, I would like to just find a brick and mortar location here in town and start my ministry. But it's like my wife and I just had this talk over dinner not too long ago. She's ready for me to jump back into what I was doing before I entered the seminary because that was a gift of discernment that God gave me. And this was a path he put me on before I was even born to be right here doing what I do, which is exorcisms and deliverance ministry. So now I'm going to start studying more in depth under my bishop in a lot of the, that type of stuff, and probably most definitely get back into investigating cases of alleged demonic infestation and oppression and possession, and probably start at the very least assisting in or taking authority over exorcisms again.
How different from movies, let's say, like The Exorcist, is an actual exorcism?
Well, sometimes they're very they're very quick. You expect this big battle and this big war. You walk into many times I have crawled on my hands and knees across the threshold of a home that I knew was really infested, and there was a client in there possessed. And just the simple fact that I showed that humility, crawling on my hands and knees across the threshold, they all left. The house was clear. The possessed person, you could just feel that they were unleashed. The chains were taken off of them, and they were clean. But sometimes it can be a lot uglier and a lot scarier. And I'm just a human being. I get scared. It's natural. Sometimes these can go on for weeks or months or even years, some exorcisms. But I like the ones that are relatively uneventful. Sure, Hollywood does tend to use creative licensing and blow some of these a little out of proportion, some of the stories, and go a little over the top, and that's all entertainment, and I appreciate that, and that's okay. But people need to know that, accept it for what it is, that you're watching entertainment. But the real demonic infestation and oppression and, God forbid, exorcisms or possessions and exorcisms is, it's something that I pray everybody listening to this show never has to witness or go through or deal with anyone close to them that is being afflicted in that way, because it's what you're talking about. It's not Aunt Bee or Uncle Tom haunting the old family farm because they loved it and they want to watch over the family for a little while before they go to where they need to go because they're not of this time anymore. This is the difference between not only the soul but life and death. Usually in possessions, there's nothing more that the demons would love to accomplish but to extinguish the life of that person that they've got that hold on. So you're talking a matter of life and death. So it puts pressure on everybody. And if you don't have friends on the other side from above that are going to come down and use you as a vessel to come through and take care of it, because it's not me. I'm just there to draw my line in the sand, put my arm around the person that's afflicted and help them stand up against the bully, the supernatural gangsters, if you will, that they're fighting. But it's God that comes down, the Holy Spirit and God that comes down and takes care of all of that. So it is a calling. I turn down people every day that reach out to me. I want to learn how to be an exorcist. No, you don't. But I don't let them go without having a nice talk with them first, because I don't want to be that guy that just hangs up the phone on them. Because a lot of people mean well. They think it looks cool. I want to be a demonologist. I want to be an exorcist. Teach me how. I want to educate them a little bit on. You would know if you were being called to this ministry, and the fact that you just approached me, and just because you think it's cool, you've seen some movies and you've watched some shows. Let's talk, and I try to educate them and open their eyes to why they don't want what it is they're asking me.
There's a lot of people these days that are talking about multiple reincarnations. A lot of people are talking about past life regression and how we're all part of let me see, what was the guest that was with me yesterday talking about? He said that the plan is made. There's nothing religious about coming back and going forth, coming back, going forth. And I have a hard time understanding this. In your opinion, is reincarnation real, or is this something that man has made in order to try and understand what he can't?
It could be. I don't have all the answers. I will tell you this, and if my bishop's listening to the show, he's going to get on me a little bit about this, because we go around and around about this all the time. He thinks it doesn't exist. Reincarnation doesn't exist, and it may not. But the big but. I have just experienced so many things that just have really raised so many questions for me about the possibility of that. One, I know God can make anything happen. If he wants to recycle you, and I know that's a terrible term to use.
That's a great analogy.
If he wants to recycle you, and if you're asked if you want to come back down and go through this again for whatever reason, well, if it's his decision, then you don't have a choice. You just do what God tells you to do. But if you're given a choice and you choose that to be recycled and come down there and do it again, because maybe there's just some unfinished business that you didn't get done in the many lives that you may have already had here, you want to try and get it right. If God has the ability to do anything. I have just experienced so many things that have raised some questions for me, and I'm really on the fence about it. If I found out that reincarnation, past lives is a real thing, I would be fine with it. And if I found out that I'm totally wrong and off base and it doesn't exist, then so be it. I'll find that you and I will be having this conversation again on the Rob McConnell show up in heaven one day, and we'll laugh over all the things that we know then that we don't know now. But I'm really on the fence. I'm not going to say it does exist or doesn't exist, but I have experienced things that have me not only on the fence, but leaning more towards it's a very real possibility.
But when these people who are what I call them New Age wannabes, or, sofa chair quarterbacks, they say, well, we come back, we never stop coming back because we have so many lessons to learn. And, I asked one guest, well, how many times have we been reincarnated? And he says, well, I know based on my past life regression I did with a hypnotherapist, well over 1,000 times. And I'm saying, are we that stupid we don't get it sooner than that?
Maybe we are.
Holy cow.
Maybe we are. And if I find out that we are, that's okay too. I'm the first one to admit that I'm stupid. There's so much I don't know. Every day I'm astonished about the things I learn that I didn't know, and it's real to me. I find it very amusing, and I find myself looking up to the heavens all the time, going, okay, I get it, because I didn't get it, and so I don't know, brother. It's just I remember. I have a great story for it. I go every year, about a month after St. Patrick's Day, my wife and I go to the Highland Games here. We both have, our ancestry is deeply entrenched in Celtic background.
All right, we're going to have to take our final break, Father. Please stand by. And Exo Nation, this is our final segment with Father Sean Whittington, and if you'd like to contact Father John, ghost-b-gone.biz. And he's in Sin City, the one and only, in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we'll be back on the other side as we wrap up this, the first hour of tonight's show. And don't forget, after the top of the news hour at 11 o'clock, we'll be back with hour number 2. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. Whatever you do, don't go away.
Down to Georgia, he was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal. When he came across this young man sawing on a fiddle and playing it hot.
She's got the devil in her heart, for the eyes they tantalize. She's gonna tear your heart apart. Oh, her lips, they really thrill me. I'll take my chances, for romance is so important to me. She'll never hurt me, she won't desert me. She's an angel sent to me. She's got the devil in her heart. No, no, this I can't believe. She's gonna tear your heart apart. No, no, nay, will she deceive.
Welcome back, everyone. Father Sean Whittington is our guest this hour. And first of all, Father Sean, thank you very much for coming on the show. Always a great pleasure talking to you. And how can people know if someone is truly possessed or they're just putting on an act?
It takes a trained person. If somebody in a family reaches out to me and says, I believe I have a family. Well, if somebody calls me and tells me I'm possessed, I know they're not, because the demon would never allow the person to say that. So 99.999% of the time, if somebody calls me and says, Father Sean, I'm possessed, I know they're not. Now, if a family member calls me and says, I have someone in the family that I believe is possessed, I need your help. Unfortunately, well, it takes a trained person to know. Unfortunately, there's stages. You can't just figure that out right away. There's stages that we go through, and it can take days, sometimes weeks, till we finally know for sure if that's what we're up against. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, and it's not only for the client's protection, but it's ours too, for our protection and the church's protection. So it is what it is. Now, there are emergency circumstances sometimes where my spidey senses may go up, and I may really know in my heart of hearts and in my soul that's what's going on there, and we haven't completed all the steps yet. Mm-hmm. I may go on bended knee begging my bishop to give me permission to go and take authority over an exorcism, and if I get the okay from him and the family has signed off on it and they're ready for it to happen, sometimes the process can be sped up if it's an emergency type situation. I haven't had to do that yet since I've joined the United States Old Catholic Church, but you never know. Never say never. But before I became a Catholic priest, when I was an ordained exorcist at a Christian university, there were many times, I had a procedure too, but there were many times where I just knew. And when in Rome, sometimes you just got to jump in the deep end without your floaties on and go for it and do what you got to do, and pray that God is, right there with you, helping you every step of the way. So, but it takes a trained person to do this, and so I advise people all the time, reach out to somebody if you believe that kind of thing is happening, that you're being targeted, or your home is infested, or you have a family member that's oppressed and either already possessed or on the way there. You need to reach out to trained personnel. Now, here's the other sad thing. Many people reach out to me that I know are suffering, but they've already been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness on medication and under the care of a physician. And then all bets are off. You can't legally you can't proceed because the doctor's not going to sign off on it, and you can get in a lot of trouble. Legality set in, and you can get in a lot of trouble foregoing all of that and marching ahead with holy water bottles ablazing, and you don't care. You're going to go in and do what you got to do. You can get in a lot of trouble, so you have to be careful.
How much danger is a person who just reads how to do exorcisms on the internet and then decide to go out that they're going to conquer the world and they're going to banish and fight all evil if they don't have the proper training? How serious can it be for them?
They're probably not long for this world, to be honest with you. That's the truth. I'm just going to just put it out there. They're probably not long for this world, or they're going to end up possessed.
There's a lot of people out there who enjoy the thrill of ghost hunting, paranormal investigations, who have no idea what they're doing. Is there as much danger in conducting a paranormal investigation if you don't know what you're doing as there is in doing an exorcism when you don't know what you're doing?
It's interesting. You and I must already be a little psychically connected here, because that is probably 50-60% of my client base, people reaching out to me that have an attachment now. And I find out that they are a ghost hunter, ghostbuster, paranormal investigator, and they didn't really have any training. They saw the shows, thought it was cool, have a passion for it, and they mean well, but they went out, they were at the wrong place at the wrong time, said and did the wrong thing, maybe did some provocation, whether it was religious provocation or provoking the spirits, and they ended up, either one or many people on their team ended up with a spirit attachment that's now wreaking havoc on their life, and then they need help. It is all very dangerous. I always tell people, unless you're really super passionate about it, beyond just thinking it's cool because you saw it on a TV show, if inside, if you're really passionate about investigating the paranormal, that, are ghosts real? Do they exist? Or they've had an experience and they're looking not only to find answers as to what really happened to me, but then they start finding out other people, like-minded people, feel and think the same way they do. And I think it's great. I think it's a great hobby. It's a great field to be in. But like with anything, you have to be careful. And there's some rules, too. You should always respect the location, respect the ghosts. They're just people that don't have a body any longer. But respect them and don't provoke.
Yeah, what is it with all these ghost hunters on TV going into places, cursing and swearing and taunting the spirits? What is with that?
It's not good. It's for TV.
I don't know if I told you this last time you were on with me, but years ago I had Pastor Harry Walther on the show, and we were talking about end times. He said, Rob, the mark of the beast isn't 666. I said, it's not. What is it, Pastor? He said, WWW.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to steal that one.
No, you can't steal it because I've just given it to you.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that's so true, isn't it?
It is. It is. What should parents do in order to protect their children from getting involved with aspects of the paranormal that fringe on occultism?
That's scary. Isn't that scary?
I think it is.
I remember many, 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 many years ago, even before I did the Eli Roth show, I was greenlit. I was part of a team, and we were all exorcists, and we had a female who was the lead. She was an ordained exorcist. She was the female lead of our team, and the show was going to be on Lifetime for women, and it was going to be about her and her team, and we were going to travel around investigating alleged cases of alleged demonic activity, presence, what have you. And it was in our contracts, we were going to be work under aliases, stage names, because at that time there were a lot of destructive cults and movements out there that were targeting exorcists. And so we had to be very careful, and the studios had to be very careful. And here, just on that note, right before we started filming the show, the lead came down with lupus. One of the producers combusted into flames while filming a sizzle reel, and one of our head deacons committed suicide. That's because these things were on the warpath to keep that show from getting out there. So that's how dangerous the field is for everybody, not just a person that doesn't know what they're doing, but for us too.
So how should parents address the possibility of one of their children getting into situations where they want to try something that is fringe and that they can't get their questions answered from the religious philosophy that they belong to, and they've heard about Wicca, they've heard about witchcraft, they've heard about paganism, and they want to experiment? What should a parent say?
Well, a parent should do some serious soul searching, and they may have to provide some tough love. They might have to do some type of parenting that they haven't done yet up to that point. I have friends that are Wiccans and pagans, and some of them even call themselves witches. But these are people that aren't perverting their religious belief system, whatever that is. I don't study that stuff. But they're not perverting it and doing bad things with it, like conjuring and casting spells and things of that nature. So a parent is just going to have to do some serious soul searching. Parents want their kids to be creative and walk their own path in life. But if they're under your roof to a certain point, you have to be ready to
step in.
Step in and say, hey, this, for what it's worth, this isn't good.
One last question for you, because I've got about a minute and a half before I have to say so long. What is your take on Ouija boards?
I used to use them many years ago, and then my wife and I had a very bad experience with them, and it resulted in a very ugly, malevolent entity following us home from this case where we used the Ouija board, and it took up residence in our home here for about 8 weeks before I found it. I wasn't trained at the time. Before I found an exorcist to help me get it out of my home, we were walking through hell, and it left my wife with she was the primary target of the demon, and it left her with 3 very rare forms of cancer, which was supposed to kill her, and it's only divine intervention that she's still here with us. So I don't use them anymore, and I always tell people don't. I'm going to hate mail for that too, because I know a lot of friends that like to use them, but I advise against it.
But you know what hate mail really is? People telling you that they're listening and that you're getting your message across.
Yeah. Do you mind if I say something before we go?
Sure, we've got about 30 seconds.
People call me all the time, Reverend, I love what you're doing. Father, I love what you're doing. How can I help? This is how you can help. I help so many things. I've been a lifetime contributor to stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Nevada.
Wonderful organization.
The ASPCA. Go to my website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. Buy one of my books. I autograph them. They come in a house blessing kit. Maybe enroll in my course, or just donate to my ministry. I've got a big retreat coming up at the end of the year.
I hate to do this, but our time is up. Exonation, visit Father Shawn Whittington's website, and we'll be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, as Hour 2 starts now.
Make a bet with you. Now you play pretty good fiddle, boy, but give the devil his due. I bet a fiddle of gold against your soul, because I think I'm better than you. The boy said, my name's Johnny, and it might be a sin, but I'll take your bet and you're gonna regret, because I'm the best as ever been. Johnny, you're rosin up your bowl.